Well, hello there again. Well, not again, but yeah, again. Star and Flurry coming at you. With just let me preface this by saying I'm really new at this, so bear with. I'm doing a VR to the Deck Crush hashtag that was developed by Don Michelle, Lisa Papez. I had to write down Danny Mystic and Marlena Teresa regarding your relationship statusi. I don't. What is the word? With certain decks. This is really harder than it looks, in my opinion. It because oh my god! So I've got a couple of. I couldn't decide, so a couple of my answers have two decks. I'll try to be quick. And I had to add one category because I'm experienced. I'm going through that right now, which if you've watched a previous video or two, you may know that already. But I felt it deserved its own separate category since it didn't really fit, since it was new to me and it doesn't fit well into all the other categories, really. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose. So we're going to start. I'm going to probably do this in pieces because it's a lot to do in one shot. And I just mean taping wise. I don't mean I'd probably post it all together, but. So let's start. So I'm going to start with my additional category, which is dangerous liaison. And I'm adding the word passionate ahead of that. My passionate, dangerous liaison. And the reason I say that is because I am utterly dying for this deck right now. And I simply can't get beyond it. At this point, I literally have not looked at another deck. I am having an affair with this deck. I think I mentioned in my last video, behind the back of all my other decks, even though they're all right here and watching. Because oh my god, this is just such a great deck. It's called the Radiant Wilds Tarot. These are the backs. It has I didn't bring the guidebooks of everything, but I happen to have this one handy, so I'll show it to you. Radiant Wilds comes with the Radiant Wilds Atlas. Now, I've spent some time reading from this guidebook, and it's only in reference to the descriptions. What I've read, I read the keywords, and then have read what the artist has written about the image on the card. He also has a message, about the meanings of the cards, and that's all in there too. So I didn't want to, kind of forget about that. But anyway, so the Radiant Wilds Tarot. Passionate, frickin' dangerous liaison right here. And it's red hot. I mean, you can see it. So I'll show a few of the cards. So there's the Two of Swords. Two of Cups. Ten of Swords. And the one thing I will say about this deck is, which I've said frequently, is the deck itself. That's a Four of Wands. Is that it seems when at first glance to be fairly minimalist, but it is not. I'm sorry, I didn't give the name. Radiant Wilds is by I wrote it down and then I lost it. Nat Gersberger. I will include all the links of all the decks down below. I'm not an affiliate, just FYI, so these are just links for your benefit. But while the images themselves seem kind of simple, and I've explained this before, I'm not a big fan of collage style decks necessarily, because there's just too much going on the page, and my head just takes in that information really quickly. It doesn't decipher it or figure it out quickly, but it takes it in really quickly, which turns it into basically, as I've said before, I don't know if I've posted those videos or not, but it just kind of turns it into mush once it gets to my brain. So collage decks are difficult for me. I admire them from afar. Maybe that should be a category. One I've never met, but one I've admired from afar. The Relic Tarot. We'll just put that in there right now. Anyways, but this deck is just this. Wow, yeah, passionate love affair, dangerous liaisons, right here. And the thing is that these, like I said, these images seem so simple, but they're so not. And there's so many little subtle things in each and every card that just make this deck, just in my opinion, exceptional. for my mind. And I'm kind of new at that. I am new at this. I mean, I studied tarot when I was younger, but not, I didn't get into it too much. And I've been at it now for about a year and a half. So I'm, getting the hang of it. But anyway, so that's a piece of that deck. So the Radiant, let me make sure I'm getting the name right. Tarot of the Radiant Wilds, I believe is the full name. And like I said, I'll put the link down below. These are the backs. Okay, so that's the Dangerous Liaison. Current passionate wild love affair. In front of everybody. I'm not hiding it one iota. Okay, so to start with, I've written these down. I think I got them from Lisa Papez's thing. But anyway, so the first one is the Fling. A deck with which you had a short period of wild times. And that deck, and I still love this deck, is the Trash, let me make sure I get it right, the Trash Panda Tarot. And I think this was actually one of the first, comes a little guidebook, the first Kickstarter I ever backed because I thought it was so stinking cute, by Jennifer Starling Dukehart. Is it Dukehart or Dukehurst? Dukehart, yeah. Anyway, so these are the backs, the Starry Moon Night with the little Trash Panda paws. It's just such a stinking cute deck, and I absolutely have had so much fun with this deck. And I've conversed a little bit with the author via email about some questions I had about the deck or whatever, and very responsive. She was just great. I think I had to write her and ask her what these were. Because to me they look like little toilet paper rolls, but they could also be marshmallows. And it turns out they're marshmallows. She got quite a kick out of the fact that I thought they were. So, but Trash Panda, so come on. Anyway, so here's the world. This is a really cute deck, and I mean it's a deck that an adult can enjoy, but I think it'd be fun for kids too. It's just adorbs. It's one of my favorite cards. The stars, actually one of my favorite star cards ever. I just love the deep, beautiful colors in this deck. I mean, I just can't get enough of the Hierophant. So anyway, the deck with which you had a short period of wild times. It was this one. It didn't last for very long. I think because I was still... this is one of my favorite cards. The Ten of Cups. I was like, oh my God, look at that, enjoying the cans of soda and the little carnival going on in the background. Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's just... I got to show another... These are each and every one is just hysterically cute. Page of Cups. So I had a short passionate fling with the Trash Panda Tarot. But at that point, when it arrived, I absolutely adored it for a long time. That's the best thing I could say. But there was a point at which I was trying to get more serious about my learning, and funny Trash Panda cards were not doing it for me at that moment. And so that's why I just want to say, I don't want to say I put him on the back burner, but I kind of did. He's still there in his happy bag that he just loves. So that's number 2. So Puppy Love, a deck with which you were infatuated but couldn't make a long-term commitment. And that deck, my friend, kind of sadly in a way, I still love it, but I couldn't make a long-term commitment to it, is the Marshmallow Marseille. Simon over at Hermit's Cave got me into this deck. It's probably, I generally read RWS, but I do know enough about that now that the Marseille decks don't throw me off. The pips don't bother me at all. In fact, the tarot, the one that I had a hard time leaving this one out, but the Tarot de Marseille, is it called the Tarot de Marseille? Something like that. It's kind of a blend, so it has illustrated pips, but in the Marseille style. It's a gorgeous deck, and I absolutely love it, and I like reading from it. But this deck is just adorable. First of all, the backs. Hello. They're a little holographic. Look at that. It is not edged. But they're so colorful and pretty. I can't read. So that's the 8 of... wait, what is this? I'm sorry. This is the Justice card. I was going to say 8, what? 10 of Cups. So see, very pippish. But so cute, kind of watercolor-ish. The Hermit. I believe this is the King of Swords. These are just really cute. Star card. And the Devil. Le Diable. It is in French. Here's another couple of, here's the pips. Some wands. 9 of Wands. 5 of Swords. Queen of Coins. Queen of Pentacles. So really quite cute. Here's the World card. And here's the one, and I agree with Simon. He kind of said this is the one card that kind of is out of place in the whole deck. But nonetheless, it's one of my favorites. It's the Moon. I think because the other cards have a lot of white space, and this one does not. But I love this deck, and I wish I had a... I did go down. The other thing I really like about this deck is the size of the card. So here's the Trash Panda. And here is the... So you can see that the... Can I show you this without being weird? There we go. So you can see the size difference. So the Trash Panda is a regular size tarot, and the Marshmallow is a little bit thinner and quite a bit shorter. So it's a great deck. Gotta put the panda back. Hold on a second. It's a great deck for smaller hands, and if you enjoy the tarot, any Marseille style tarot decks, then you'll love this deck. It's just adorable. And I've got the link below, and I just noticed on the website when I visited it that he's got a new one out called the Sirens. It looks like a sea style. I don't know if it's mermaids necessarily, but it looks very much in this style, same size. It looks really adorably cute. So that's what. Okay, so that was Puppy Love. So 3, Friends with Benefits. A deck you care about, but sometimes get extremely passionate for. So I have 2 in that category because I'm just not monogamous in that regard. And number 1 is the Star Seeker Tarot. And these are kind of, in a way, kind of similar decks in a way. Not really. They fill a different need in my wants, but the Spacious Tarot as well. I'll briefly show some of this cards. So the Spacious Tarot is, did I write this down? Spacious Tarot, I wrote it somewhere. Where the heck did I write it? There it is. This is the Spacious Tarot is Carrie Mallon and Ruyet. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Ruyet. Come out. One thing I don't like about ribbons. They make for a pretty box, but they're annoying to work around. Okay, anyways. Spacious Tarot is great. That comes with a great little guidebook. It's not a little white book. But it's not chunky either. But it's a good size guidebook, and it's very good. Anyways, backs. You've all seen this deck. You know it. I won't show a lot of it. But Ace of Cups. I love this deck because it's nice and airy and breathable, and I love it. And what do I have it under? Oh yeah, Friends with Benefits. I don't use this deck or the Star Seeker on a daily basis. Now the Star Seeker gets a lot of use when I'm on the road because I have a little pocket version, and I love the images, and it's like a tarot deck memory for me. Every time I open it up, I think of traveling, so that's kind of fun. 6 of Cups. So again, this is the Spacious Tarot. Just gorgeous, gorgeous deck. This is 2 of my favorite cards coming up: the 8 of Cups and the 9 of Cups. This is just, I love this one. So this is just a beautiful deck. So Spacious Tarot, which you're all familiar with, of course, is one of my Friends with Benefits. And it is funny because there are occasions when I just no other deck will do. I absolutely must have an evening, maybe even an overnight with my Spacious Tarot. And the same with the Star Seeker by Nikki Ferrata. She just did a really interesting interview on, I should have looked this up before I did it. You might be able to find it on her Instagram. Anyway, Starseeker Tarot. These are the backs. She's in the process of doing an oracle, which if you follow her Instagram, you get a little piece here and there of some of the cards she's working on. And they're just very much in the same vein as this. Seven of Wands. Knight of Wands. Just again, very kind of minimalist, airy, lots of breathing room. These are the kind of decks you'll probably see throughout this whole thing. Just nice and airy. That's the kind of images I like. Two of Pentacles. The World. Ten of Cups. I love that one, the underwater. So again, you're all familiar with this deck, so I won't show much more. Oh, and this one's edged in a beautiful kind of dark lilac. Stunning deck. And it also comes with a nice little guidebook. Not a little white book, not a chunky book, but a good sized book. And it's written very well. Nikki's done just a fabulous job with this. I'd love to spend an evening with her in front of the fire chatting her up. So that's Friends with Benefits. So Love at First Sight, a deck you loved from the start. Can you guess from the bag? Probably not. The only it's so easy for me to find this deck because the deck goes so well with this bag. This is the Pixie Pop Tarot by Jillian Wild. Again, comes with a nice little chunky guidebook. These are the backs, very simple. Oh, and I should show you, I should have kept it. I don't think I've got any other weird sized decks coming up, so I'll do this. But this, the thing I do like about, one of the cards actually has Pamela Coleman Smith on it, but that shows you the difference in size. This deck is it's about the quite a bit thinner and quite a bit shorter than a regular tarot deck. And for small hands, yes please, this is just the best. It also shuffles like a dream. It's edged, comes edged in black. I think I showed the backs, and it's just really vibrant. It's strictly Rider Waite. It's Pixie's Images, just resized, I think, in some ways, and clearly recolored. For those who like clean, crisp lines, this might not be your deck, but it doesn't bother me in one iota. I absolutely love it. I love how vibrant this deck is. I just think the colors are gorgeous. The Hangman, oh my God, look at that. Oh. And like I said, I just love the size of this deck, and it shuffles like butter. There's just, I think I wrote, when I wrote a review on Etsy, I think it was, and I just said, we don't even need to talk about the coloring because, oh my God, it's a gorgeous deck. But let's talk about the size. And that's where the whole deck is, it's Rider Waite Smith, so of course you're going to love it. But you're going to love it more because of the colors. And for anybody with smaller hands, Pixie Pop Tarot, a joy. So anyways, what was that? A deck I loved from the start. And it clearly was. The moment I opened it, I was like, this is so great. And I think it's one of the, not the first, but one of the first decks I ordered a backup of, because it's one of those things where when you think to yourself, oh my God, if I screw this up, if I wreck it, and don't think you won't, because I frickin' poured an entire glass of wine on a deck fortunately I wasn't highly in love with, but I was in love with it enough to have to go order another one because I ruined it. I've spread it, I couldn't believe I did that. It was just, boom. And I went and wiped every card off, and of course all the laminations coming off. I laid them all out, let them dry, put it all together. It's like, I don't know if you've ever dropped a paperback book in the bathtub or in a pool and you try to dry it out, you know what it looks like. It goes in this size and it comes out like this. So that's what this deck ended up looking like. So yeah, that was the end of that. But anyways, I don't know how I got off on that, sorry. Oh, so I ordered a second copy of the Pixie Pop just in case. Just in case. So the next one is One Night Stand, a deck you tried out but moved on from almost immediately. Sometimes you still think about that deck. And that is, for me, the Way Home Tarot. Like I said, I still am in love with all of these decks. I think that's why this was so hard, because I could throw almost any of these decks under any of these categories. The Way Home Tarot, oh my God, it's by Barbara Wintner and Autumn Whitehurst. Here are the backs. Comes in a great little box. I don't believe it came with a guidebook, but I think there probably was a PDF one of some kind. These are the backs. And the cardstock in this is just lovely. It's matte, but it's slidey, and it just just fans like crazy. I've seen this deck show up on other people's lists. I'm not sure about Deck Crush, but I've seen it show up on top 10 or decks I couldn't live without. But again, you notice a pattern, the kind of style of art that I love. I just kind of love fresh, a little more on the modern side, I think. Nice and open and airy. Hanged Man. Hermit. Isn't that great? Bear in his den. Oh, Death card is just stunning. Sad, but stunning. Daughter of Wands. Look at the fireworks going off inside of her. I just think that's so awesome. Nine of Swords. This one's kind of devastating. But these... Oh, I love this card. Ten of Pentacles. I just love... Oh, look at all the tree. This stuff hanging, the jewels hanging from the tree. Oh, my God. Gorgeous. Ten of Cups. See, now I'm going through this and I'm like, why don't I come to you more often? Fallen in love all over again. The Tower. Judgment. One of my faves is the Emperor. So simple and yet so, in my head, powerful. Just beautiful. And the Fool is just also one of my favorites. So this doesn't, it's not strictly Rider-Waite, but it's readable for if you've done your homework on Rider-Waite and you're somewhat familiar. You'll love this deck. I am, like I said, I'm still learning, but this deck I could read fairly easily, and it's just even if I can't read, it's a joy to look at. It just soothes your senses. These are like Zen decks to me. Anyway, but this was the deck you tried out but moved on from almost immediately. Sometimes you still think about it. Sometimes I think about that deck a lot. Not just sometimes, but a lot. So we're on a break. A deck you separated on for any reason. Again, I have two decks because I have no idea why I separated from these, but I knew right away that they belonged here. And one is the Jupiter's Eye Tarot by Adrian Vita, and the Erosier Curious Travelers. Danny, I think, had this one on her list as well. I can't remember under what category. May have fallen under Dangerous Liaisons if that had been part of her thing. Or Passionate Love Affair, whatever. Curious Travels Tarot deck by A. Rosier is the name of the artist there. And again, very kind of a satiny finished deck. Beautiful, I guess kind of watercolor work. I adore the fonts in this. Anybody who's got who requires glasses, or perhaps getting on in years, or requires glasses but refuses to wear them, this is a great deck because the font is really large, and plus it also has the icon for the card right there as well. So Eight of Pentacles. So super easy to read right out. To read what the card is if you're not sure about the image. And I like that. That is becoming kind of a thing for me. I really like decks in a tin, but some of them are just impossible. And I think when I read those, I realize how much I kind of rely on the numbers on a lot of these things. But anyways, but I like this because the font's really big, and I don't think it deters from the cards at all, in my opinion. Some people would probably be bothered, but you could chop them off, I suppose, if you wanted. I just think they're part of the art, and that's what I really like about them. So that's the Tarot of the Curious, the Curious Travels Tarot deck. And again, I'll be leaving links below to all of these. And then Jupiter's Eye by Adrian Vita. And this one is just, I forget how, this one's edged in kind of a gold, kind of almost a champagne gold. It's not super shiny, but it's not the rough gilding either. It's kind of it's almost like a matte gilding is the only way I can describe it. It's just not the super shiny stuff. I don't know if I can, I don't think the camera, oh, there you can kind of pick it up. It looks more shiny on camera than it actually is. Anyways, so these are the backs. I think this was actually the first or second Kickstarter I did. Trash Panda may have been the first one, and then Jupiter's Eye, second one. So the only complaint I have about this one is that Adrian put his little logo down here on the thing, and it's distracting. I wish it was elsewhere. Pixie got away with it because she had such a cool. I was listening to somebody talk about how, it was what was her name? Simon interviewed her. She's writing a book called it's writing about Pixie's life, and I think it's 3 books. The first one is called The Fool and the Magician. I think the next one's The Emperor and the Empress, something like that. But it's a novel, but it's based on her life. Anyways, and she talks about that Pixie's signature on her cards almost became a sigil. The way it appears on the cards, we don't think of it, I know a lot of people complain about U.S. games, stamping their logo on everything, and these things are distracting because they aren't part of the artwork. But in the case of Pamela Coleman Smith's, it became part of the artwork. And I think, or maybe not at the beginning, but it certainly has over time. And so that to me is not distracting at all. But when you get like a little name printed on the end here, or USGS, or however they want to, or God forbid they do it on the side of the card. Oh, don't do that. Oh my gosh. Anyways, let me show you some of these cards. So this is just, again, I mean, obviously I have a type. Dr. Phil would probably say, how is that working for you? I love all of these decks. I just can't walk away from any of them. Page of Swords. Knight of Pentacles. Oh, I love this King of Cups with his pink hair. What is he doing? That's weird. It looks like the cup is sucking up his beard, but I think it's not. I think it's just in his hand. I love this World card. Oh, I haven't looked at this deck in a long time. She's a beaut. World, 4 of Wands. Very vibrant, fun. It leans, I think some people complain that it leans a little comic-y, but I don't think it does at all. I think I just love it. 9 of Swords. These are just 10 of Swords. Thank you for not having a dead animal. I appreciate that so much. 9 of Cups. Here's a great one. The Hanged Man. First Hanged Man that isn't hanging upside down, but he is hanging. So, I gotta show this. 4 of Pentacles. I love the green pentacles. Anyways, gorgeous, gorgeous deck. So Jupiter's Eye is what this one is called. And I'll have the link below. It's still available. All of these decks, as far as I know, are still in print and available. So that's good. So those are those two. So next, Marriage Material. The deck that has proven its value to you. Well, that's my dear long-standing love affair with the Rosebud Tarot. This deck is just too much for me. I just love it. It's by, and I had their names down, and then did I write it down? Probably not, because I think that I know them. There it is. Give me one minute to get that. Comes with a little guidebook. Amanda Lee Stillwell and Diana Rose Harper are the authors and creators of this deck. This is one of the only collage decks that I can actually read and enjoy. Those are the backs. And you've seen, I've done a couple of readings with this deck, but it's a gorgeous deck. I love the images. There's a lot of room to move in them. Actually, after studying, or not studying, but getting more familiar with the Radiant Wilds Tarot is teaching me to look for more than what you're seeing on the surface. And I think this deck is very much along those lines. This one has some humor in it as well. That's what I love this. This won't understand. And I love that the water cans are they're the icon for the water suits. They have they have renamed the suits just elementally, and then the court cards a little bit, but nothing that you can't translate into RWS. But this is just a great little deck. I love the images. I love the fact. Like I said, I love collage decks, but it's always a little difficult for me to read those super busy ones. So this, this is actually probably one of the busier cards in the whole deck. That's the Empress. I love the Hierophant Professor. So anyway, so that's my beloved Rosebud Tarot, who I haven't proposed yet. Not yet. I'm not sure I can, because there's actually another deck that's first in 9. So Rosebud, and then the last one is Happily Ever After, Your True Love in a Deck. And that has got to be, and will always be, the Maraloon. I adore this deck for so many reasons. It was actually one of my first tarot decks outside of standard Rider-Waite. It was the deck that introduced me to indie decks. That, oh my God, this whole industry has changed dramatically since I was first around tarot decks. I mean, back then you could only get pretty much the one in the yellow box, or some Tarot de Marseille if you really hunted for it. And then I think right when I was kind of starting to get away from it is when Morgan Greer showed up. The Aquarian Tarot, those were out there for us who were doing the RWS. It's like, I don't know about those. But it turns out that I own both of them now, and I absolutely love both of them. I don't use them that much, but I love them. I'm glad that I have them in my library of decks. But anyways, back to the Maraloon. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful backs. And this is a watercolor deck. And it is by, please tell me I wrote it down. Yes, L.S. Grain, Graine. I think there might be 2 E's on her name. Her or him, I'm not sure. This is I got the linen version, which was at Papercraft. I always say that. That's not it. Makers. Just look it up. Just Maraloon linen. It'll be in the Google. If I remember, I'll try to find the link to it and put it. I know for sure I'll have the regular Maraloon, which is also, that's make playing cards, and it's lovely make playing card stock as well. It's great. But when I heard that the linen came out, and I wanted to side note, Jupiter's Eye, by the way, Curious Travels, the Curious Travels Tarot by A. Rosier got picked up by U.S. Games, and so you could still get it, I believe, on her website. I'll leave the link, but it'll also be available mass market down the road, and it may have a more affordable price tag with it. Well, I don't know what that will be, but just FYI. Okay, so back to Maraloon. So this is the linen version, but oh my gosh. And I will say that the linen version seems a little washed out. I mean, it's not a super vibrant deck. It's kind of pastelish, but but some of the cards that to me are normally super vibrant in the Make Playing Card edition, like this one, for instance. This is beautiful, but it's a much deeper. I did a kind of a side-by-side comparison on my own, and realized that some cards were absolutely perfect, while others were just a little more washed out. But I just love. I don't think of myself as being picky about cardstock, but because of my small hands, getting a deck that's linen just makes it easier to frickin' shuffle. You know, you can get these super sticky ones that you just can't. Like, oh, I won't mention any because that's rude. It doesn't make me love decks any less, but I do. I have found that isn't this a lovely tower? This is so like, it's the difference, the difference between the tower card that goes, oh, this is going to break loose. And then this one saying, something's going to happen. There's just such a difference. And this one is just not, exactly what it means, but you're not, by it like some. So that's why I love this deck. It's just calm. It's zen. This is a deck you're going to have a cup of tea with, even if you don't drink tea. It just calls for it, It just does. It's just a beautiful deck, and it will always be. It will always be number one. I don't use it that much, because I like having love affairs around. But I always come back to this babe. This is I think, one of my favorite Eight of Cups. It's just stunning. I love her red skirt. I mean, that is just, she's just walking away like, I'm good. I'm very good. Nine of Swords. I like this one too. Just, Queen of Pentacles. I'll give you a couple of court cards and then we'll put it away. Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. Isn't he beautiful? So, I was going to say, this reminds me of decks that have real faces on them. Sometimes bug me because they, or even really well sketched faces bother me because you look at them and you think, like, there's one deck that one of the kings looks like Mel Gibson, which, I don't want Mel Gibson on a tarot card unless he's in, a tarot card of Hollywood stars or whatever. Just, I don't know. So, but every time I come across that card, I think of Mel Gibson, and that bothers me. So I like these better because they're not cartoonish, but they're not so dialed in that they remind you of a person, a famous person. They might remind you of a friend or something, but I don't know. Love that Two of Pentacles. Anyways, so that's the Maraloon. Maraloon is my true love. Always will be. Always will be. The Make Playing Cards deck. It doesn't come with a guidebook, but the cards. There's a lot of extra cards that have the meanings of the cards on them, which is kind of cool. The linen edition comes with just a little white book, basically with the same thing that's on the other one, so FYI. And a beautiful piggy bank to go with it. So those are my decks. Those are my deck crushes. This was really hard. Thank you, Lisa Pepez. Thank you, Marlena Teresa. Thank you, Dawn Michelle. And thank you, Danny Mystic. I enjoyed watching your videos so very much, and all of your videos very much. But this one was really particularly fun for me, and it's the first big VR I did a 10. I think I did a top 10 or tarot, top tarot 2022 or something along those lines. So you can look for that if you want. But anyways, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate your time and listening to these decks, and I hope that you might have found something new within this compilation of decks that I provided, and I tried to link everything below. By the way, they aren't affiliate links. I'm not connected with anything like that. These are just links for your convenience. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Star and Flurry out. Bye.